is nearing destruction. Salvation is reserved for those who pass the test. If you survive, an elevated existence awaits. Initiate Phase 1. Power up the base cannon. Fire.
Not a day goes by without me thinking about that way the world stopped with motion. When you walked into my life and we connected like we share the same emotion. Couldn't help but move the plans of us into each other's loves by chance. All this energy's got us inspired now. We couldn't stop it, just say it free and
Hello everyone and welcome to the Cathedral of Shadows, a Megami Tensei Podcast. I'm Rasen.
I'm Katsu.
And holy shit, you know what episode it is?
Episode 50!
Oh my god! We did it. So, yeah, we were wondering what the hell to do for this, but
Yeah,
I think Atlus worked with us a little bit on this one, because
Atlus helped us out a lot.
by
We'll get
totally
to it,
working on our schedule, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll get to that part later.
Okay, so, man, a lot has happened since we last talked.
I know.
Some things happening a little while ago, and some things happening literally just this morning. So I guess the first thing we're going to talk about is the exciting new thing out on the market that everyone wants to talk about, and that is Devil Survivor 2 Break Record, am I right?
Yeah.
Everyone, like me and 5 other people, yeah. So yeah, that came out, more specifically, it came out in Japan. Still no real word on a North American date on that, or Europe for that matter. So, sold pretty well. Did a little over 53,000 copies on its first week, which is pretty good, pretty solid. I don't think that obviously that's not SMT4 or Persona 4 numbers or anything, but that's pretty respectable for a niche RPG, I'd say, on a handheld.
Yeah.
Well, I guess in Japan technically handhelds are more popular, so maybe I shouldn't even say that. But yeah, it seems like Record Breaker's out, and there's some new scenario details I've seen. Mostly, seems like the new scenario has a lot of fan service, which kind of makes me worried. But I'm trying to avoid spoilers, so.
Yeah, I saw some screenshots.
I saw some screenshots too, man, and wow.
It's definitely free fan servicey.
I didn't think Yasuda art could get any trashier, but
it did.
It exceeded expectations.
You haven't seen Yozakura Quartet, so you don't know how trashy you can get.
Okay. So yeah, I don't know. I don't have too much to really talk about this other than it's out, and I'm super excited. It seems like the extra scenario is pretty damn long. So that's good stuff. I've heard mixed things from Miyako. I've heard some people say she is the quote-unquote Marie of Devil Survivor 2.
Oh, God.
And I've heard other people say that she is really well integrated into the plot, so I don't know. I've heard a wide array of reactions from one extreme to the other. So I honestly, I think I'm not even, like, I already had too much, I think, ruined for me, because I honestly did not even look up things. These were just all things that were said to me from people. So, like, yeah, I am still not ever going to look up shit about this game. I am seriously, like, blackout until I get to play it for myself. I have actually decided as soon as I get Record Breaker, I am not going to even bother replaying the main game to see what's up. I want to know the new story. And then once I do that, I'll probably go back and play through every single route, because fucking Devil Survivor 2 is the best thing on earth. So yeah, looking forward to it. But I guess
please look forward to it. Hi.
Yeah, pretty much. So I think we have some other stuff to talk about.
Yeah, the thing that everyone saw and got really excited for, people pretty much shat themselves when they saw it.
Indeed. So, We have some new news about a little known game, but we should probably go in chronological order. So, as we've been talking about, Atlus announced that they were going to do a 30-hour Persona stream that led up to that Persona Night of the Phantom concert they've been teasing forever now. And everyone's like, oh shit, we're finally going to get Persona 5 news. So...
Yep, we got news, alright. We got news for Persona for Dancing All Night.
Yeah, we got some Dancing All Night news, the game everyone's looking forward to the most.
I'm looking forward to it.
I'm pretty excited for Dancing All Night. I'm not gonna be able to play it because that Fuel and No Vita, but fucking, I'll be able to listen to the songs, right? So
yeah,
I don't care. They even announced already, like, I think the soundtrack. Well, maybe not like the release date, but I think they are making a soundtrack for it, right?
Yeah.
Because that was somewhere in there. Yeah, that's what I thought.
They had a whole bunch of really well-known Japanese musicians and artists and stuff working on the soundtrack. I recognized a few names, but I can't remember the entire list off the top of my head. Just know that
there's a lot more people than I expected.
Yeah.
I thought it was... I guess that's probably, to be fair, commonplace for rhythm stuff, but, like,
yeah.
I was just kind of expecting Soejima and friends, but...
also, the opening is done by SMT.
Sorry, I mean Meguro. Sorry about that.
Also, the opening is done by SMT4 composer Ryota Koduka.
That's pretty good. He makes some good stuff.
Yeah, he does.
He makes some really good stuff. Fucking SMT4's OST is, like... I think I said way back in the day, I'm like, yeah, I enjoy it, but, like, fucking, the more I listen to the songs from that soundtrack, the more I think I like it. It's really good. Man, it's just, I don't know, he is, I think, a little underappreciated in the fan base, but, yeah, we got, well, the first thing, I guess, even before all of this, before this episode, but after the last one, like, in that downtime in between, they announced the sort of schedule that they were going by for the live stream.
Mm-hmm.
So, of course, me and you were like, shit, when are we gonna be able to watch these events and all this other stuff, and trying to figure out how it was gonna work with our schedule. Luckily, we were able to, I guess...
We were able to catch the important bits.
Yeah, the important stuff, and the only thing I missed was the first mystery event. They had 3 mystery events. The first one was the Dancing All Night intro, and
yeah.
by that I should clarify the intro song, not the actual intro cinematic. So that's called Dance, and you heard it at.
It's really good.
It's really good, and it's at the start of this podcast. So you've already heard it if you've been listening so far. Yeah, it's really good stuff. I have a few friends that were like, oh, I just expected, like, dumb techno remixes or something, but, like, fucking, if dance is anything to go by, man, that soundtrack is going to be amazing, and I'm actually looking forward to it a lot, so.
Please look forward to it. Hi.
Please look forward to it. It's looking really good. So then, later in the night, we had news, and I shouldn't even say news maybe, but, like, these leaks kept appearing on Japanese Twitters, and they were this weird image that looked like a poster, but it was on newspaper, and it was like this Persona 5 visual thing.
Yeah.
And people were like, what does it say? What does it say? Because it had Japanese text on it, and it was it was something like, I am the Phantom, and I am going to be... This is not exact at all, but it was basically hinting at a person known as the Phantom would be appearing at... wherever the Persona concert was being held. I forget the exact name of the location, but everyone was like, are these fake? Are they... What's going on here? Because a lot of the assets that were used in that
picture look very strikingly similar to someone.
Well, not only that, but there's there's this little heart with a hat, like with a top hat, and it says underneath that, "Take your heart," and that was revealed on the stream. So if someone faked that and took a picture of it, and put that all together and printed it out on newspaper, they would have had to have done that really fast. So people were like, is this real or not? And apparently, no, it was actually supposed to be in that city's newspaper. It's a full-page ad for the event. So it turned out to be real. And a lot of people were freaking out for whatever reason because the character that was on the ad looked like Sho to some people. It really didn't.
Yeah.
The scar-
I joked about it, and then I joked about it in a Skype chat. I was like, "Hey, look, show's confirmed." But then someone linked a freaking imgur of someone like overlaying show's picture with the person in the thing, and I was like, God damn it! I was just trying to be funny, and now someone did the thing.
They did the thing.
Yeah.
So, I think that's a great name for everything. They did the thing. I'm just gonna
They
name...
done did the thing.
They done did the thing. I think we found our podcast title. Fuck.
Yes.
So, a lot of people were like, "Oh, it's Sho," because his hair looked slightly red,
Yeah.
even though there was just a red filter over the image, which was stupid. And he didn't have scars, which whatever. Like
It's just really dumb.
that was
People need
enough
to-
for me.
That was enough. People need to stop with this show nonsense.
I know it's not. He's. I don't think
It's not gonna. I don't think the ride's gonna end until Persona 5 drops and is in everyone's laps.
I think the next time we'll see Sho, if we ever do, will be Persona 5 Arena.
Yeah, Persona 5 Arena or Persona 5 Dancing All Night.
I kind of want Sho and Dancing All Night. Like, that would be great.
He challenges Narukami to a dance-off.
Yeah.
Show just starts popping and locking like a reel.
I would actually love that, because, like, Dancing All Night takes place, like, 3 weeks later, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I would love if, like, fucking at the end of that show's like, hey, I'm leaving, I'm gonna find my own journey. Then 3 weeks later, he just pops back into dance a little bit.
Yeah.
Something to salvage from Ultimax, please. I am still of the opinion that it would be the best thing ever if Dancing All Night had just the greatest Persona narrative ever told. Like, they just
If it
went
was a
all
better
out.
story than Ultimax's story.
If it's a better story than anything we've gotten, just like it is the most amazing, tragic, not just
story about
tragic, but like
dancing.
emotional. Yes, the most highly emotional, beautifully crafted story that we could have ever asked for out of the Persona writers. Yeah, so that newspaper ad dropped, and a lot of people were wondering, who's this Phantom character? Is he the antagonist? Is he the main character? What's going on here? So then, in the downtime between that newspaper drop and the next event that they were going to reveal, one of the people who was mirroring the stream, his name was Pepsi Man, and that name might sound familiar because he's translated a bunch of different stuff. And
Yes, he has.
And for those of you that listen to our friendly rival podcast, S-Link FM, he was on there before, and they had a really great interview with him that you should all listen to if you haven't already, because he talks a lot about just translation work and stuff, and it's really cool. Just overall, he's such a great dude. He's like the nicest person. Also, fun fact, Katsu, do you remember that article we were talking about when Persona Q dropped in Japan about like a import impression?
Yeah.
That was actually written by Pepsi Man. I just did not know it at the time because his name that he used for like the authorship of that article was different than Pepsi Man.
Oh.
It was his Twitter name, which is not Pepsi Man. So yeah, I found out a little after. It's like, oh, that was also Pepsi Man who wrote that article that we talked about for that show. So yeah, just overall, he does a lot of Persona stuff. He's quite the Megaton fan, so that kind of actually went somewhere because on Twitter he started teasing, hey, I've been working on fan subbing this Nocturne documentary that was with the original release of Nocturne in like a little DVD, like a second disc that came with the game. And he said, I think I'm going to show some of that off before the next event starts. So we got to watch a bit of a Nocturne documentary before the next event, and actually really amazing. I was super impressed by it. Not only just the documentary itself, which is really good, but also Pepsi Man's work on it so far. It's not complete, and it's only like a third of the way done, and I don't think he has any... Like, you can track down the Twitch archive, but I don't think he's gonna really keep that up, because he said, like, he doesn't really want to do much with it until the translation project is fully complete, and like I said, it's only like a third of the way done. And even then, like, that third still has, like, some notes in there, like, fix this or check if that's correct or whatever. But yeah, we got a lot of really great info from that fucking Nocturne documentary. Actually, I just realized I did not write it down in the agenda, but I wrote it down in a separate file on my phone. And Katsu,
Yes.
I am going to share with you the wonder of the Nocturne documentary, because I don't think you caught it, did you?
No.
Okay. There's some good stuff in here. There's a lot of good stuff. Do you remember that image we talked about way back when that we thought was a timeline? Maybe, I think it was like episode 14. There was an image that we thought was a timeline that was allegedly from Atlus's site, and we're like, this is really fucking weird. It says, like, Demi Kids came out of, like, SMT2 and stuff like that. Yeah, that was not from Atlus's site, and it's not a timeline. That was actually a development history that was used in the documentary, because, like, as each of the games released, they, like, filled in that graph. So that was not a timeline at all. That was just people from the English fan base misinterpreting that image. So that's cleared up. And then another thing that's kind of cleared up is they talk a little bit about SMT-IF, and there's a lot of news in there that you just can't really find easily on the English side of the internet. First thing, SMT-IF had a really short development time, and that kind of makes sense because if you look at the release dates for the Super Famicom versions of these games, IF came out the same year as SMT2. So IF was really almost in a way shoved out the door. Like, they really...
Yeah.
I can't remember who it is in the documentary talking about it, but they said something like this just isn't possible nowadays with modern game development. And now, that said, the documentary was from the time of Nocturne, so he meant by modern 2000s, but...
Yeah.
Still, it's pretty impressive that they managed to make IF in that short amount of time, and even a lot of people really like IF, and from what I understand, it's a relatively glitch-free game, and it's a solid release, so, man, that's good on Atlus for creating...
Impressive.
Yeah, for creating something like that in such a short amount of time. And then another thing is that this is kind of clearing up stuff that has been kind of debated in the fan base, too. So, apparently Shin Megami Tensei IF's name was originally going to be something generic, like Shin Megami Tensei X, or just another generic subtitle like that to show that it's a Gaiden game or whatever. And then they threw around Shin Megami Tensei Ibun, which apparently is a subtitle that gives off, like, a mysterious vibe. Like, that's something you would hear in front of, like, a mystery novel name or something like that. But then what happened is that they didn't care for the name Ibun, but what they settled on was If ... which the game was known as when it was released. They settled on that name because it sounded similar to Ibun, but it also sounded cool.
Yeah.
So nothing to do with alternate timeline stuff or anything like that. They just... Literally, it was named because it sounded cool, and it could be a movie reference to, like, a really, like, I think, 1960s British movie. Someone in the comments will correct me on that, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, so IF has nothing to do with the alternate reality that it probably more than likely takes place in. So, one thing also regarding IF that I thought was interesting is, I think it was Kaneko was talking about how Persona was directly inspired by the Demon Guardian mechanic that SMT-IF had, which is kind of like the predecessor of the idea of a Persona as a whole. But then also in the documentary, he says that what most people probably don't know is that Devil Summoner probably would not have come out either had SMT-IF never have been made. Because IF proved that they could make a good RPG that wasn't post-apocalyptic or something of the sort. Like, they could do a contemporary style game.
Yeah.
Which kind of led them more into the direction of making Devil Summoner and Soul Hackers.
Devil Summoner, Soul Hackers, and the Personas.
Yeah, and the first two Personas, which obviously have led into Persona 3, 4, and now 5. But I thought that was interesting, because you don't hear too much about IF and Devil Summoner being super related other than, like, taking place relatively closely in the timeline, if you're into reading up on that. And then they went on to talk about Persona 1, 2, Devil Summoner, Soul Hackers, Demi Kids. Like, basically they gave a brief description of all the games and a little bit of the development history. But then they shift focus to Nocturne, which of course the documentary's main focus is on. And one thing that I think is really, really cool is that Cozy Okada said that he wrote Yuko as the main heroine of Nocturne,
Oh?
which makes sense.
Yeah.
Because I think a lot of people think of Chiaki as the heroine, even though she's really not. SMT3 as a whole kind of strays away from the main SMT formula a little bit, but yeah, I guess it does kind of make sense if you look at it that Yuko's the heroine. She's obviously more of a neutral character than Chiaki is,
Yeah.
and she kind of fills that role, even though she's not in the party and she doesn't fight alongside you really. She does kind of have that vibe to her, so that was kind of interesting, just getting his opinion on that. And then, this I thought was really funny. Apparently one of the writers wrote down in his notes for Nocturne pre-production that he wanted big-ass fights in the city and even bigger demons.
Big demons, big fights. So pretty much Devil May Cry.
Not just big fights, but big-ass fights. Specifically,
Big ass fights.
big-ass fights in the city. And I'm like, I can see someone on Nocturne's development team saying that. I thought that was funny. And then from there, this was possibly my favorite part of the documentary. They showed beta footage of Nocturne back when it was still called Shin Megami Tensei Vortex, which was the original name of Nocturne before it released. They changed it for whatever reason. But
Nocturne sounds cooler than Vortex. They made the right choice.
yeah, I agree. Vortex is a good subtitle, I think, but not as cool as Nocturne. But
Vortex
man,
sounds like a Sonic subtitle.
oh Jesus, Sonic Boom Vortex.
Sonic Boom, Vortex, and Knuckles.
Fuck. But this beta footage, man, first of all, what I think is really funny is they showed off a part where it looks like these generic polygon clay models. Like they just look like people. But then they have like a Kukulane sprite for a face. Like that's how they made like test models for the demons. They would just make them look like humans with swords, and then they would put the demon's face on it, and like that. I don't know why, but I thought that was really funny. I mean, it makes sense, but it was really weird though, because it was just like this really early build of Nocturne, and the menus looked pretty terrible actually. It almost looks like Soul Hackers menus in a way, but like kind of just. It could also just be the quality of the video, but they looked pretty rough around the edges, and also, again, it's beta footage. But it's just funny, because it's like the Demi-Fiends model in a fight, and then Jack Frost is an enemy, and then there's just these two clay men with demon faces that are sprites, or at least really poor rips of the artwork, fighting alongside Demi-Fiend, and it was just really cool to watch. But probably my favorite part of this whole section is that they had Megaro music on there that was not in the final version of the game, and some of it you can tell is different versions of songs that were in the game. Like I think they played a different version of the title theme, but holy shit, that music was still really good, and it's not released anywhere. The only way you can hear that is if you watch the documentary, and like it's some good stuff, man. I really wish they would throw that out at some way, shape, or form, because like those are some good tracks, man. God, Megaro music is so good.
Megaro music never fails.
Yeah, really, really good. So, and then it kind of cut to the final scene of the documentary, which is just Cozy and Kaneko walking around the city. Now, this part was not subtitled, but Pepsi Man was in the chat, and he was kind of doing like a live translation, or like at least a rough summary of the part as it was being streamed. And apparently this part is Cozy and Kaneko kind of having this somber little talk where they're talking about how they feel at the time of Nocturne's release, they were apparently feeling that their time helming the series is kind of coming to pass.
Yeah.
Which, sure enough, Koji Okada left Atlus after Nocturne's release. And Kaneko is still there.
Kaneko's MIA.
He's still there, but like he's not. We haven't seen him.
He shows up to work every day to get his paycheck, and that's about it.
I actually kind of want to talk a little bit about Kaneko when we get to another thing a little later on. But I promised we'd go in chronological order, so. But speaking of Kaneko, segue. He also states in the documentary that without all of the right people coming together, he said he would be sad because he wouldn't be known as the demon artist, which made me go like, "Daw," or whatever.
Aw.
And then also he said that without the right people coming together, it's very possible that Megami Tensei could have just been another generic fantasy RPG that went nowhere. And that kind of, like, I don't know. I don't know, because, like, every time you hear about really early Megaten shit, like SMT2 and before that, I envisioned this small team of people in a room that just really fucking like the idea of summoning demons with computers, just going for it, you know? I don't know. I really, really enjoyed that. Just kind of, it showed their passion and the fact that they knew they were making something that stood out from the crowd, and they were proud of that. And I don't know, but like as a Megaten fan, I really enjoy that they're proud of that, and that they kind of just showed that kind of respect and love that they are so different from other RPGs. Because hell, that's part of the reason I really love Megaten at this point.
Yeah,
they're
the what's the word I'm looking for? Antithesis. Yeah, I want to say antithesis until someone corrects me in the comics.
Okay.
They're the antithesis of modern JRPGs nowadays, where JRPGs focus more on the lighthearted aspects of adventure and all of that stuff, and when it gets dark, but it's only like for a brief moment, and then things are all hunky-dory. Megaten, not trying to be like an edgelord, but Megaten, it's hard to explain without.
I think what you're trying to say is that it doesn't pull punches.
Yeah, it doesn't.
I mean,
punches.
Even fucking Persona 4, which everyone's like, oh, it's too late and blah blah blah. Well, fucking Persona 4, when Persona 4 wants to say shit, it doesn't hold back, like, and that's something I really respect. Yeah.
Yeah.
Compared to a lot of other games that have been coming out, but man. That's really about it. That's kind of the note the documentary ends up on, is that Megaten might not have been a fantasy game if the right people hadn't come together, and that would honestly depress me, because judging by what happens when they try doing fantasy, and that is Last Bible 1 through 3, they probably shouldn't try doing fantasy because they can't do it well. At least back then they couldn't. Maybe
back
now.
Then they couldn't. They got more staff people now, and Etrian Odyssey's doing good.
Well, Etrian Odyssey is good, yeah. I meant like from a Megaten perspective, but yeah, I'm sure now if they wanted to do a fantasy Megaten, they could pull it off, but I feel like, too, they'd kind of be losing some of the charm of what defines Megaten for a lot of people. So yeah, that was the Nocturne documentary that showed before the second event, thanks to Pepsi Man's awesome work. Like, fuck, it was just a really good documentary. I'm going to link to Pepsi Man's Twitter below, and just, like, follow him, because he'll probably be posting news on whenever he gets around to finishing up that documentary translation. And I highly recommend you watch it, and I'm just excited to see it be completed so I can watch the full thing again with the full English translation. Because there was a part that was completely untranslated with Meguro strumming on a guitar and just kind of chilling out and talking with the interviewer. So yeah, just really good stuff there. So after the Nocturne documentary finished or whatever, Pepsi Man just brought it back to the Persona stream, and the next event started a little after, and it was a fake news report that was talking about that newspaper ad that people were wondering if it was fake or real, and this was kind of the final, well, for a lot of people it was the final nail in the coffin for, oh, it's real. But even before this happened, Sega's Japanese Twitter posted an ad like, oh, did you guys notice that newspaper ad that's been floating around Twitter? Kind of like a wink, wink, nudge, nudge. So,
nudge, 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 wink, wink.
Yeah, and it's like, obviously, if it was a fake thing some fan made, they wouldn't be tweeting about it. So everyone's like, oh shit, that's real. But then also a lot of people found out just through the fact that it was part of this event. So it was a news reporter with that, like, with that image on the screen. And the news reporter was talking about how there was a phantom that was threatening to ruin Atlus's livestream event, but Atlus officials said that they were still going to carry the event anyways. And the person trying to ruin the event identified himself only as the Phantom, and it was too spooky. And then they just replayed and then also after that event they just replayed some Dancing All Night stuff. And then later on throughout the night they revealed a bit more Dancing All Night shit. I should say, this is when I decided to hit the hay, and I'm going to sound like the biggest tool, but like I fucking took like a sleep aid pill so that I could fall asleep early and wake up early so I could catch the last event because I wanted to see the Persona 5 thing live. Yeah, the things I do for this fan base. No, not really. I wanted to catch it live just for my sake. And I'm glad I did. Holy shit! But before we say that, yeah, there was some more Dancing All Night stuff revealed throughout the night.
Yeah. Naoto and Yukiko are confirmed.
And
dancers.
Nanako.
And Naniko.
Naniko. Nanako danced on the dance floor.
Nanako, go get daddy some sausages.
So fucking sure enough, Nanako is a dancer, which is amazing. But also, they revealed the full track list in the base game. And the reason I say base game is because we kind of got a slight confirmation DLC exists.
Yeah, there's gonna be DLC songs, so empty. Get your wallets ready.
Yeah, so here's how this works. First of all, Dancing All Night coming out June 25th in Japan. And there are 3 versions of the game coming out. First version is just the base game. Second version comes with a free DLC pack. And the third version is a bundle that comes with the DLC, but also a Persona 4 Dancing All Night themed Vita.
That's a lot of stuff.
That's a lot of stuff. It's probably going to be pretty expensive, but that's a good bundle.
Yeah.
Good job, Atlus. But also, another thing worth note is that all copies of Dancing All Night that are first print run over there are going to come with a Blu-ray that has Persona 5 teaser stuff on it.
Too bad someone's just gonna rip it and upload it to the internet anyway for all of us to enjoy.
Probably. Yeah, that's probably going to happen. I wonder if the English version's going to bother with that.
I don't know. They're probably not. They're probably not going to, because they already know what's going to happen if they try that.
Well, either that or it's English footage too to make it somewhat. I'm assuming
Somewhat worth getting.
Yeah. Yeah. So who knows what that's going to be like with all that? Because yeah, next time we get Persona 5 news, I bet is going to be in June with that Blu-ray dropping. I really doubt we're going to hear
anything major.
Yeah, anything major.
Might just get a magazine scan or something.
Or like an interview or something here and there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the next major Persona 5 stuff will be in June when that Blu-ray drops with Dancing All Night copies. So yeah, then we waited a long time and they just reran a bunch of events, and then at 6 a.m. my time, the concert was getting ready to start, and they were also doing the last event. So you watched this live, correct? Yes, I did. Okay.
There was a lot of well, the concert started, then they switched over. They didn't show the entire concert. They started out the concert with the Dancing All Night opening, and Lotus Juice, Yumi Kawamura, all those people that we know and love were up there. And then they went to, what are these guys called? Oh yeah, the Persona Stalker Club. And they were talking, and they brought in Yumi Kawamura, and she was with them. Then they brought in Lotus Juice. And for the first time in forever, Lotus Juice was speaking Japanese. I heard Lotus Juice speak Japanese for the first time.
I like how you said for the first time ever he spoke Japanese, like he's gotten by in Japan.
No,
he's gotten by in Japan this whole time just speaking English.
It was weird, to be honest. I'm so used to him speaking English. But anyway.
Yeah, I am too. I was kind of shocked hearing him speak Japanese for the first time too, because I've never heard him speak.
Yeah.
Well, I guess I've heard him sing Japanese, but just regular conversational, Yeah.
And that was all fun and games, and they did viewer questions about Persona characters and all that stuff, and it was whatever. Honestly, by that point, I was like, oh my god, show me the goods already.
Towards the end of that was when I woke up and started tuning in, and 2 minutes after I started watching, that's when the shit hit the fan and the stage just went completely black, and a voice from nowhere started playing. And the coolest, it's so cheesy, but that was a really cool stage effect where these police car lights started strobing, but they were all red. And the Phantom started speaking. And sure enough, we saw a Persona 5 trailer that is fucking amazing, and we're going to spend the rest of this podcast talking about.
The rest of the podcast.
So
put on your speculation caps.
So how hyped were you when you saw?
I was so hyped I
trailer?
went to sleep.
I was so hyped that I couldn't fall back asleep, and I just decided to wake up and
I was
get ready for the morning.
excited. Then I fell asleep, and then I woke up at 11, and I tweeted about it.
Oh my god, it looks great though.
The game.
So
my expectations were blown out of the water.
That's what I was about to say. Before we started recording, you and I were talking about this. Like, we already had pretty damn high expectations, and it still blew it out of the water, which is fucking great. That's not often you can say that happens with game stuff. Usually, if you set your expectations too high, you are disappointed. That is complete reverse. Damn, this looks great. Okay, so I was talking to Katsu about this. In my mind, Persona 5 looked like Persona 4 with Catherine-level graphics and maybe a little bit of a cooler HUD. And then we saw this, and just everything about this looks amazing. It's very Catherine-esque, like we were all kind of expecting, I think. But it looks,
the way the
looks
P5
better than Catherine.
The way the P5 MC was walking was very reminiscent of Vincent.
Just in general, that interface, man.
Yeah.
So
that interface is stylish.
That is stylish as fuck. And what I love about it is that, now this is gonna sound weird to people. The interface is sloppy, but not in like a bad, unorganized, ugly way. The interface is sloppy in a teenage rebellion punk, I don't give a damn sort of way.
Yeah.
And also, they kind of do the thing with, like, every bit of the menu is like it's trimmed out of, like, a magazine or a newspaper, like a villain or, like, a criminal would do for, like, a ransom letter. And that is a great design choice. That looks
super sweet.
Nice.
Like, Atlus knew what exactly they wanted to do with Persona 5. And they nailed that.
Yeah, it looks great. And then, too, just in the trailer, I guess we can just break down, and then feel free to pause if you want to ever talk about something that I didn't include in the agenda here. So the first thing I was going to pick at is the giant angelic figure that appears and flies away right at the start. I'm assuming that is the starting persona.
That probably is MC's beginning persona.
Yeah, I saw some people that are like, oh, it looked like Mastema a little bit, and I'm like,
His person Mastema is now a persona. Get hype.
I want Mastema to be a persona in P5.
Yeah.
That'd be great. It's like, what the fuck are you doing? I want Mastema to have some Persona 5 presence, just to be like, get the fuck out of here. Like, I want to have Mastema in Persona 5 so that I can be like, get out, Mastema, you don't belong here. That would be great. People that haven't played Strange Journey or SMT4 are like, what the fuck is he talking about? But
yeah,
everyone else knows.
Oh, Mastema.
Yeah, so there's a giant angelic figure. So this kind of leads to a little bit of a thing that I kind of want to get into, where everyone's still going, what the hell is the mythology going to be based on this time around? Because we had Japanese with Persona 4, we had Greek with Persona 3. Maybe Christian this time?
Maybe Christian or
just Abrahamic in general.
Or maybe some contemporary mythology. I don't know.
Like, it might just be like signs are kind of pointing to Christian, and I'm going to talk about that a little bit because there's a little bit more of Christianity influence that we see later on. But I guess the next thing is just we see a little bit more of gameplay, and the next thing I wanted to talk about is that the main character is the Phantom. And he sneaks, and it appears like there are stealth mechanics to the dungeon crawling.
There's stealth mechanics.
We have Persona Gear Solid 5.
Yes. The Phantom Thief!
Why are we still here? Just to suffer. Every night I can feel my Persona 2.
Yeah.
But holy shit, yeah, so it looks like there are stealth mechanics, because we see him jumping, like, platforming from chandelier top to chandelier top, and then we see him sneaking around corners during one part, and like it looks like there's like a cover system.
Yeah.
When the fuck do RPGs have cover systems, man? That is nuts.
That's dope.
I know.
I like to point out that how different the protagonist is compared to the first time we saw him.
Yeah, I noticed that too. So
He's like a completely different person.
Okay, so we talked about this, and I want to say, was it like episode 39 or whenever we talked about the TGS trailer,
Yeah.
for Persona 5. Well, at least the pre-TGS trailer, whatever. You all know what I'm talking about. And we kind of talked we talked at length actually about how the main character seems really awkward, timid, shy,
Yeah.
like a little uncomfortable maybe. And when appears in the dungeons as the Phantom, he looks like a cocky douchebag.
Yeah, he looks like a rebel out to fuck shit up.
He looks more confident. He looks like what I thought is like he looks smug. Like
Yeah,
he looks
he's
kind of like a
smug.
prick. And I enjoy this.
It's
because...
different from Narukami and Minato. Like Minato, he's pretty distant and he's distant and standoffish and kind of cold. Narukami, he's like everybody's best friend, and then P5MC, he's kind of a dick.
I think you meant Minato. You said Narukami twice.
Oh,
But yeah, like
it looks like the quiet, mousy P5MC we see at school. You see him walking, he has his hands in his pockets, he's slouching over, it's like he doesn't want to be seen. Then you see him in the train, he's stumbling over himself when it comes to an abrupt stop. It seems like there's two different sides to him,
yeah.
like the quiet side of him may be a persona, not like the persona, but the actual
that's
psychological term.
That's what I like
This is
about this. It's actually
actual.
he actually has different personas, and not as in the concept of persona, but like not as in the spiritual entity, but like he has different masks that he wears in different social situations. Where when he dons the phantom disguise thing that he has going on, he's more confident and he's a bit more of a douche. But like when he's in a social setting or like kind of out and about as himself, he is awkward and kind of weird.
Quiet. We'll probably see him be more of the Phantom when he's around his friends. Like you see him and his friends inside that one place. It looks like they're going over a map. They're probably plotting their
heist.
next big, their heist.
Okay, I'm glad you noticed that too, because if you look at what they're looking at, it looks like a blueprint for a house or a mansion of some sort, or like some building.
Yeah.
It looks like they're planning like a heist. But also too, like, I just want to point out, like, we kind of see the Persona 5 main character in school for a little bit too, and like he's like snoozing.
And the teacher just throws a piece of chalk at him. You see his fellow students start to laugh at him.
Yeah, so like that's kind of because like you could sleep in class in both P3 and P4, I think, right?
Yeah.
But like, there's a reason they showed that. I feel like they wouldn't just show that. Like
they wanted to show that they want to show something.
I feel like that's establishing his character a little bit.
Yeah.
Because like I feel like Narukami and Minato are not the type. Maybe Minato. I feel like Narukami at least was not the type of person that would sleep in class, and at least as I always saw Minato, I always viewed him as probably a smarter guy. You know, maybe not at first, but like I feel like by the end of the game, he's at least a good student. At least that's how he seems to be portrayed in other media, I guess, vaguely. Like, he seems to be on top of his academics, at least, but fucking the Persona 5 protagonist, like, fuck it, I'm just gonna sleep in class. Fucking, I don't give a shit.
Maybe he's not shy. Maybe he's just like, I really don't care about what's going on. And he's like, I don't really care about what's going on. I have big plans tonight. I have a heist. Or maybe he's like, when he's in class, he's kind of in Phantom mode where he's just like, I really don't give a shit. And maybe the teacher throwing the chalk at him was getting him back into reality or something like that.
Not only that, too, he seemed to be daydreaming or dozing off a bit, but also not only that, one thing I wanted to talk about with the Phantom stuff, though, is when we see him as the Phantom, those do not look like random dungeons.
Yeah.
Those look like straight up Nocturne. Nocturne, no. Those look straight up like Nocturne or DDS style created dungeons that are
made from contemporary structures and like, not just
random
labyrinths.
Yeah.
It's kind of like Persona 1 and Persona 2 in that sense as well.
Exactly, and there's a lot of P1, P2 type stuff in here, which I think a lot of people are going to be excited about. I'm pretty excited about that. I haven't really...
Actually, we could talk about it. Like, the characters seem to have a main hand and an offhand. Their main hand is their weapon. You see P5MC, he wields knives.
I was going to talk about that when we get to each of the characters, but...
Yeah.
Like, each of them seem to have a melee weapon and a ranged weapon, or at least... At the very least, a weapon and a firearm. I think they say something like, choose your weapon and choose your gun. Maybe that's just a weird... I don't know. But yeah, they seem to have two different types of weaponry, which is a nice return in my opinion. Because, not gonna lie, as a Mega 10 fan, sometimes it can feel like P3 and P4 don't go... Katsu, maybe you have this feeling too, but at least as someone who played P4 recently... There are a few times when playing P4 or P3 where I'm like, this is good, but I wish, and it's only because I've played the mainline games, I will admit, but it's like, I really wish you would just go a little bit more in depth with this system, just a little bit, and I would be at a nice spot, but like, I feel like
the main hand, I feel like they could have kept the main hand offhand and still had Persona be its own thing, but I guess... When it fell off at Persona 2, 3, and 4, they weren't really looking... They were... I guess they were trying to make Persona stand on its own before going back to that, maybe, perhaps?
Yeah, I can see that. Definitely, because, I mean, they definitely changed the battle system in a way that made it have its own identity a little bit. But also with that, too, is I feel like at times there are points where Persona... And once again, I say this as someone who likes other SMT stuff, so that's the only reason I feel this way, where it's like, I wish they would go a little bit more in depth in this system. And admittedly, maybe that's not what the average consumer wants, but just as a like hardcore Mega 10 fanboy, that's like something I am interested in. And maybe different weapon types is kind of a sign that maybe it's going to be a little bit more complex and maybe a little bit more up my alley, which I'm looking forward to for that reason alone. And then I guess another thing that a lot of people pointed out, pretty much all of the story scenes we see that have the little calendar system overhead.
It's by the
way, the calendar system is back.
Yeah.
That is all but
it's
confirmed.
moon phases instead of weather.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I did not know that.
Yeah, it's moon phases.
Okay, that's a return to old-fashioned.
Also, 4/11, that's on Monday, and there are no 4/11. There are no Mondays that are the 11th of April until next year. So it's safe to assume that this game takes place in 2016.
Yeah. Looks like 2016 going to be the release. Not the release. What the fuck am I talking about? It looks like 2016 is going to be.
The time frame.
Which
means these guys are younger than my sister. My sister was born in 98. These guys are probably born in 99 or 2000.
Oh shit, you're right. Oh god damn it, I feel old. Fuck.
I know, right? They're around Ken's age.
Get off my podcast, you're making me feel bad about myself. Anyways.
Ken confirmed.
God damn it. Ken and Show confirmed for the other two party members. No, anyways. From there, we see a little bit of stuff from the Velvet Room, which appears to be...
Igor's back! Yay!
Igor's fucking... I did not... Okay, that was... I'm not gonna lie, I squealed a bit, because holy shit, I thought they were just gonna can Igor, because you don't do that in Japan. When someone's voice actor dies...
You can the character completely.
That character goes away. I am shocked. Unless they are going to reuse lines, which they can't do that, right?
They're probably going to get a new voice actor because
it has to be
in the in the Persona drama CDs. Igor had a different voice actor before his 3 and 4 voice actor, and he died.
Yeah, like so he's
probably going to get a new voice.
He has to. If they're going to have him back, he has to get a new voice. And
there's new Velvet siblings. They're twins.
They're twins, and they wear eye patches on different sides, like on different eyes.
Also, P5MC's Velvet Room is a prison.
Which is fucking hilarious, because do you remember how we would always joke about, like, oh, Persona 5 will take place in a prison? Not only that, do you remember, and fucking people that have followed me for a while will remember this, do you remember the stupid Silent Hill fake trailer I made? Oh my god, that is 10 times funnier now that there is actually a prison-related thing in Persona 5. I didn't even remember fucking Yamato Takeru, frequent emailer of the show, like, fucking was like, oh wow, Rasen was right. And I'm like, what are you talking about? And then you link to the trailer and I'm like, oh my god, that is hilarious. I laughed my ass off when I saw that tweet.
That was awesome. That was the best thing ever.
I know, I'm like, wow, a stupid Silent Hill trailer Persona 5 fake thing I made turned out to be somewhat accurate. Not very accurate, but there was a little bit of truth in that fake trailer that I had no clue would be there. Yeah, so I fucking died, because like I was like, holy shit, I can't believe that happened. That is the best coincidence that has ever happened. But yeah, also people are first of all, anyone who thought that the person in the jail cell was either Vincent or Pharos, stop. His
P5 doesn't have his glasses on.
Oh my god.
It's probably from him first arriving to the Velvet Room. He wakes up, he's in a prison, he's like, what the fuck is going on here, let me out.
Now, there are a few theories. And then he sees
Igor, and he's like, welcome to the Velvet Room.
There are a few theories that I've heard. One, maybe the Persona 5 main character does not want to be in the Velvet Room, and he actually, like, he needs... Fuck. I've heard a theory that, like, for whatever reason, maybe the Persona 5 main character does not want to be in the Velvet Room, and he's in there against his will, and that's why he's freaking out, and, like, that he's behind bars.
Yeah.
Personally, I'm of the opinion that that's probably the first time he's in there.
First time he's in there, he's in a panic.
He's in a panic because if you wake up in a cell, I think the natural reaction is to freak out.
With a really long nose is staring at you.
Yeah.
Yeah. The first reaction is to freak out.
So I don't really think I believe the theory that he's not in there because I don't believe the theory that he's in there against his will. And then there's like some people saying like maybe he needs to like prove to Igor that he can be freed or something, like, I don't know. Okay, real talk though. I was talking about this with a friend. How much do you want to bet? I am willing to bet money on this. How much do you want to bet that at the final boss battle he gets out of the cell, or Igor frees him from the cell? That is the most obvious thing.
That will be the most symbolic thing ever, considering what the themes of Persona 5.
That is, yeah, it's like he's
gonna get out of the
he's getting out of that cell in the final battle.
And then he's going to completely destroy the final boss.
When the Nyx or Izanami moment happens, those bars are opening up.
Yeah.
Yeah, so...
Until then, he's going to be behind that jail cell fusing personas.
Yep. Through the bars. He'll be rattling his little tin cup. And then be like, Eagle, get the fuck over here.
Personas?
Fuse my personas.
I can just imagine that now.
Just like he puts the tarot cards of the personas in his cup, and then he rattles it.
Yeah.
So then, yeah, I guess also then too we can talk a little bit about the party members that they show off. First of all,
we have Naruto Uzumaki and Junko Enoshima.
Well, first thing I want to talk about is that when they're in dungeons, they dress up.
Yeah, they dress up too.
Which is why the main character is the Phantom.
The Phantom and his cronies and his goons.
And it looks like there's going to be like a heist motif like we talked about.
Yeah.
So it seems like a lot of the dungeons are going to be like trying to steal something maybe.
Yeah.
Or just dicking around and snooping around and doing stuff. But yeah, first of all, I think both you and I were talking about this a little bit beforehand. Holy shit, these character designs are the best.
Yeah, I love these character designs. They're so well done, and I just love, like, they're really good.
If the rest of the characters are of this quality, this is hands down going to be my favorite Persona party, like, design-wise. Because those two characters... Well, I guess the four characters, rather, we've seen so far completely, in my mind, blow the P3 and P4 designs out of the water. Yeah. I love them that much. And, like, that's not even me knocking the P3 or P4 designs. I just... The P5 designs are just that good.
Yeah.
Man, particularly, I really like the girl Anzu or Anne,
Yeah,
whatever,
Anzu or Anne, whatever you prefer.
whatever
Yeah,
you
same.
prefer. Yet,
She might be waifu, maybe.
oh no, I am right now waifu,
Waifu. Right now, waifu.
right now.
You already calling it?
I'm already calling it. Like that is my first S-Link rank 10. Well, maybe we should talk about that a little bit later. If
Yeah, that's gonna be your Christmas Eve.
that's gonna be my Christmas Eve.
All right.
She is bae. Anyways,
So yeah, the characters' names. Well, Persona 5 protagonist doesn't have a name. He's just MC.
people I think are going to start calling him the Phantom.
Yeah. The blonde guy's name is Ryuji Sakamoto.
And depending on the translation, that either has 2 U's or 1.
Yeah.
Most people seem to be going for 2. He uses pipes.
Yeah,
as
his weapon
melee
is a
weapon.
pipe, and he uses a shotgun for his gun.
Yep. And he seems to be the game's Junpei or Yosuke.
The game's Junpei or Yosuke, the cheerful guy who's got some issues deep down.
Yeah. He's definitely like your bro character.
Yeah, it's gonna be your bro, the guy you meet the first day of school is gonna be like, yeah, we're gonna be friends for life
And then
until you die.
And then the girl whose name is either Anzu or Anne. Now this is kind of divisive right now. So her name is translated as either Anzu Takama. Is it Takamaki?
Yeah.
Okay, so it's either Anzu Takamaki or Anne Takamaki, and there is a weird thing going on where Takamaki is both a common, well, maybe not common, but it is both a Finnish surname and a Japanese surname. So what I'm seeing is people are thinking either she's a foreign girl, kind of like Lisa from Persona 2, and if she's, well, like maybe not, she is of non-Asian descent, in which case maybe her name is actually Anne Takamaki. But then also, if it turns out she is actually Japanese, maybe it is actually just Anzu. I'm kind of leaning towards Anzu
Yeah.
right now. I feel like that just makes more sense. I don't know, in my mind, I feel like it's Anzu, not Anne.
We'll find out when we get some dialogue.
Yeah. As of now, I think I'm just going to keep calling her Anzu. But yeah, she uses, first of all, she dresses up like a cat.
Yes.
Like fucking.
She has a
woman.
Katsu thing, kind of like how Mitsuru's outfit in Ultimax, but not really.
Yeah, it's like a spy cat suit. That was very cleavage heavy. Good job, Atlus, already delivering the stupid fan service.
I know, right?
But yeah, she uses whips and submachine guns.
Yes.
So I think honestly, so far, she is the character I'm most interested in. I love that design.
Yeah.
She looks amazing. I really love her design. I don't know. It's something with the stupid 4-leaf clover hoodie thing. I don't know. She looks cool.
Just say it. Just say she's kawaii, man.
No, God, no. I'm trying to avoid the waifu, but Anzu keeps dragging me in. So
And then we have our final party member, which is the mascot of this game, which is a cat, and her name is Morgana.
yes, and what's really strange is that it appears that the cat is just a regular cat, but it can transform into this weird cartoony cat, and that's the form it uses to fight.
I don't know what weapons it uses. I think it just uses her claws and a gun.
I feel like there's an image. She uses a weapon. I know. It was in the trailer somewhere. I don't know what, but she uses a weapon. I'm pretty sure. Oh, also, I guess we should point out too. The main character does not use swords this time around. It appears that he uses daggers or knives and handguns.
Yeah, he has a pair of stabbers.
Yeah. Very, very strange Jack the Ripper-esque vibe I get from him, actually.
Yeah.
But yeah, Morgana is the last character, and it's very clearly this game's mascot character, or like Teddy or Koromaru, like the little animal helper. And she looks really cool.
Okay, the cat wields swords, and
Oh.
her gun is slingshots.
Okay, that makes... Yeah, I remember the slingshot now that you mention it. Yeah, so that looks cool. One thing that's been pointed out, maybe there's not a navigator this time around.
Yeah, I noticed that too. All of them are playable.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean that the navigator's off in the distance and they just weren't shown.
Yeah, that's true. Because to be honest, you don't really need a navigator. You can just have it be like battle analyze data. You know, you don't need someone commentating the entire battle. Other RPGs have done it just fine. I mean, so those are the main 4 characters we know about right now, and all of the weapons they use. Looks pretty interesting for a party setup. I mean, it's pretty standard to what we've seen, but I actually really dig the cat.
Yeah.
I think that's a great mascot character. So,
especially because, cat burglar thing.
yeah, what I was about to say. Do you think the cat will make puns?
Yeah, there's probably going to be cat puns.
So
I don't see why it wouldn't.
So when are we going?
The cat's going to say things like "right meow" and all that crap.
Or Cathedral of Shadows?
No.
Eh?
Stop.
Eh?
Stop.
Eh?
No. No.
Eh?
No.
I'm just saying.
Stop.
I'm just saying. Yeah, the cat looks cool.
Yeah.
It's
I already like her better than Teddy.
Same. We
Yeah.
know nothing, but I already like the cat better than Teddy. Morgana looks cool. And then we have actually another character that is in the trailer, but like we see like a second of. There's a part in the beginning where everyone's just jumping around, and there's a guy in what looks to like be a fox outfit or a tanuki outfit or something, and that's probably another party member that we just didn't see. Maybe the navigator, who knows?
Yeah.
So who knows what's up with that guy or girl? And then also we already kind of talked about this part. It appears that they're using some sort of bar or cafe as like a hangout or like a home base, kind of like the Junas food court.
Seems like it's a bar, just from the looks of how run down and dirty it looks.
Yeah, I saw some people that were like, "Oh, it's the bar from Catherine," and I'm like, "You mean the one in America?" But whatever.
It's probably owned by one of the characters' parents, or maybe they just know the guy who runs it. They just let him hang out there.
Yeah. And then
Because you do have those kind of connections in the city.
Yeah. Am I right? Hey,
Yeah.
wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Anyways, yeah, it looks like they're looking at a building floor plan or like some sort of blueprint for getting through a heist. Yeah, which we already talked about that. We already talked about guns are back. We saw that very clearly. Now, this is a part that we should talk about, is that when they show off the battle system, they show off an all-out attack, but if you look closely, they are not fighting shadows.
Yeah, they aren't fighting shadows. They're fighting demons.
They are fighting Sandman and Pyrojack, who are demons. Or, who knows, maybe they are somehow personas? Or maybe they are demons back.
Demons are back.
We won't know for a while, but what if demons are back? That would be cool.
If demons are back, then hey, it's like no more Hulk Hogan shadows and all that other stuff.
But what's weird is that it looks like when they're dungeon crawling earlier on in the trailer, it looks like you see these knights or like these people holding swords or like these enemies holding swords, and they look like standard shadows that you would fight, and they're just kind of around. So maybe there are both demons and shadows, or maybe, or even maybe if they don't want to bring demons back for whatever reason. And honestly, I would love if demons came back, but I couldn't blame them if they weren't back.
Yeah.
I would totally be fine if those were just somehow rogue personas, or maybe even you fight other persona users as just random battles.
A la Persona 2?
Who knows? Would be interesting.
Yeah.
So then also another thing that everyone's been freaking out about, the main menu is shown, and first of all, that, like we talked about already, that is a stylish main menu where the main character, like, smacks, like, the main character palms the camera as if to shove the camera away, and it says, like, "Don't look at me like that" in the upper right corner of the screen. But one thing about the main menu that is very curious is that there is no social link option. Now, one thing I do want to point out is that in Japan, they're not called social links. That is an English version thing. They are called commu links.
Yeah.
But even then, they're still not in the menu. However, what is in the menu is cooperation. Now, the first thing I thought about is like they're not adding multiplayer to Persona.
No.
But then like I thought about it, I'm like, is that a multiplayer? What the fuck is cooperation? And then I'm like, maybe that's either replacing S-Link or that's just the new S-Link system that they're going for. Like,
Yeah.
okay, let's be honest. The calendar system's already confirmed. They're gonna have some sort of social link
Aspect.
Yeah, or even Fate from Devil Survivor 2-esque aspect. Some sort of social interaction relationship mechanic will be built into
Maybe
the game.
yeah,
it's safe to
maybe
say.
cooperation means like you work together with that person to help them do stuff. I don't know.
Who knows? But I mean, even like just from the Japanese perspective, like community and cooperation, like social words that start with C, is they're kind of similar. I don't know. I'm kind of grasping at straws, I feel, with that one, but that I want to say that's probably the new social mechanic.
Yeah.
And if not, who's to say that there aren't multiple menus? I just want to throw that out there. Like, maybe S-Links are in the system menu for whatever, I don't know. Or there could just be a different menu, like if you hit triangle or something, and that brings
also,
up your social
look at
link
the
menu.
menu. Like, under Don't Look at Me Like That, it says Camp and Main Command Select.
That is the gun store that they're at. Or
Camp and Main is the name of the gun store?
Well, I don't think the gun... It is a shop of some type, because if you watch the trailer, it looks like he selects that,
Yeah.
and then he goes into the weapon shop place.
Okay.
So that's the deal with that. So maybe actually you can buy weapons on the fly when you're out and about. That would be nice. If you just can go to a menu instead of having to haul your ass all the way to the store. Would be useful. But then also, actually, just on the... I almost forgot, on the point with the fact that demons appear to be present in some form, at least their designs. What if Kaneko's been working on Persona 5 this whole time?
Maybe he has. Maybe he was helping design new demons.
What if Kaneko and Sorajima team up on this project and the art is amazing?
We're going to be beholding a lot of demons.
I want to behold all of the demons. So that looks, I don't know. Maybe Kaneko's not, and I'm just, I want to believe that Kaneko's doing something, but yeah, who knows? And then also, like, I know there's a lot of people that are like, oh, what if there's no social stuff at all? And it's like, at this point,
I doubt it.
I doubt it. That is too
gonna
risky. Too many people would be mad.
Yeah, that's way too risky.
And even then, if it turns out that, like, I will say this, people are kind of getting, I won't say like uppity, but like maybe defensive about the social stuff in Persona.
Yeah.
Specifically social links. What I want to say, and I said this on Twitter, and like I just want to repeat it. When you think about Persona and why you like the social link stuff, I doubt it's because of the actual gameplay part of it. I'm sure people like it for that reason, but I doubt that's the full reason. I feel like most people like social links because of the strong character writing and what it does to add on to the side story of the game. And
what it does to flesh out the world and show that these are actual people living day to day in this area that you're playing in for about a year's worth in game.
And that friendship or like just relationship in general simulation that they have is so well done. I feel like the writing there is why everyone likes social links, and you can change around the gameplay mechanics of that and I still think people will enjoy it. Like, as long as the writing of said gameplay mechanics are good and like you still get that social interaction in some form, I don't mind if they mess around with the S-Link system. Like, do whatever you want with it, guys, as long as the writing is still top notch, which I'm sure it will be. I'm pretty excited for, because I mean, we had 2 games with the S-Link system. I kind of hope they do actually change it up a bit. Like, I know I've gone on record saying that, like, I've gone on record before, way back when, saying like, oh, like I wouldn't mind if Persona 5 had no social links, but the reason for that is like, I feel like the character writing is what really makes Persona its own thing, and that's what I look for in Persona. I don't need a gameplay mechanic, personally, that backs that up. As long as the writing's there, I'm fine with it, because to me, Persona is about the characters and their relationships, and whether or not that's supported through the gameplay, I don't mind. But I have a feeling in some form social mechanic interaction type stuff will be part of the game. There will be probably some sort of social link-esque system in here. It's actually kind of strange that we didn't see too much of that in the trailer. We saw what appeared to be the main character hanging out with Anzu and the main character hanging out with Ryuji.
Yeah.
And like they had these weird like kind of like manga cutaway panels in there too for like the social scenes, and maybe those are just regular cutscenes. They looked a bit like social events to me.
They remind me of Persona 3, that thing they had in the original Persona 3. Where they showed like a bit of a cut in of the person's face during certain cutscenes.
Oh, okay. I'm not super familiar with that. Was that in FES or did they?
I think it was in FES and in the original 3.
I can't remember for the life of me, but okay. Oh no, I think I know what you're talking about. Now with that said, I actually think it's kind of weird we didn't see more social link-esque stuff in the trailer.
Yeah.
I was assuming that'd be a big part of it, but we saw mostly combat, dungeon stuff, and just, I guess, like, more of the day-to-day stuff, if anything, than the actual social link stuff, it appears to be. And then, I guess, also, at the very end of the trailer, just to wrap up trailer stuff, then we can talk a little bit about what was said after the trailer. There appears to be, at the very end of the trailer, a fiery transformation that goes on, and it seems like, well, first of all, I guess I should say, it shows the main character with his eyes yellowed and just covered in blood, and then this blue fire appears, this bluish-purple fire, that is very similar to the fire we saw from the TGS trailer, and it just kind of envelops him, and the blood goes away, and, like, he has these weird, sharp yellow eyes and this, like, sadistic grin, almost. And
yeah,
then
he's looking hella evil.
He's looking pretty spooky. And then just the fire covers him, and this, like, his face kind of transforms into this demonic smile face thing. And then
you hear the Persona sound effect.
But that's the thing, it cuts to black, and we hear the Persona summoning sound effect. So people are wondering, maybe they turn into their Personas this time. Digital Devil Saga?
That'd be hype if they turned into their Personas.
It'd be very similar to Digital Devil Saga, maybe?
Digital Dank Saga.
Oh, Katsu. Oh, oh, god damn it! I should have made this joke earlier. What if Morgana is actually Seraph?
Oh,
that's not gonna happen.
My God, yeah.
That's not happening.
How did you think about it?
Yeah, is Schrodinger male or female? Do they ever say?
I don't think they do.
No. Whatever. Morgana's not Seraph. What the fuck? Whatever. That would be the dumbest plot twist that I would love, but that's not going to happen.
Yeah.
My only connection is that they're both black cats. But yeah, so maybe they turn into their personas, or maybe that's just a fancy animation for summoning their personas. Who knows?
Or maybe that's just a shadow. I mean, his eyes was yellow after all.
That was the other thing. Is what
maybe
if that
his
was
shadow? Maybe it's gonna be like, yeah, maybe. Oh, you say it.
I was just gonna say maybe that's the main character Shadow, and he's transforming into his like shadow monster form that like the P4 bosses do.
Yeah.
That could have easily been a thing too, and they could have just reused the sound effect. Like the only reason I'm more inclined to believe it has something to do with like persona summoning is because that sound effect played.
Yeah.
If that sound effect wasn't there, I would totally be like, that is the shadow of the main character turning into like a monster form. But that sound effect really threw me for a loop. I still don't really know what is fully going. Well, no one does, but like I am trying to wrap my head rather around what the hell that could be. Very interesting indeed. Now
I know how he got the blood all over him. Maybe someone like, I don't know, man. He's in a school uniform too, so there's probably. And there's a light to the right of him, so this probably happens in broad daylight.
He just played Persona 2 and the edge just filled his face with blood.
Yes.
That's what happens.
Maybe I should summon a Persona. And then he did.
Fucking. So then we had a little bit of stuff that came out after this, mostly talking about. There's two things that came out from Hashino. One was a blog post, and the other was an interview excerpt from, I think, Famitsu. Now, the blog post was talking about how the main cast of Persona 5, what they're trying to kind of convey with the trailer, and it kind of shows through, is they're a little more ill-mannered, is the term. Now, something that I do want to say is that a lot of people are saying, like, oh, they attended juvenile delinquent school. If you read that post, he never says the phrase delinquent once. He says juvenile.
Yeah.
And just because it is a juvenile high school does not necessarily mean juvenile delinquent high school. I have
Well,
a feeling...
our characters are juvenile delinquents at the end of the day. It's just that they don't attend a juvenile delinquent correctional school.
Exactly. That was my point. I think people are like, oh, it's a correctional facility. I don't think that's it. I feel like he's just saying, like, oh, these are young characters and they go to a juvenile school, because juvenile just means young. Like, they're high school students. They're 15, 16 years old. They're not very old. So, with that said, yeah, the main characters are going to be a little bit more ill-mannered.
More
anti-hero-ish.
Yeah.
One thing
they were raised past 2000, you know what people say about this generation.
Fucking everything's going to shit.
Yeah, everything's going to shit. Adachi was right.
Back in my day, these punk-ass kids would sacrifice themselves like Jesus and become a door to save humanity. Now they're fucking robbing things and being in jail.
I love all the Twitter posts about that, too. It's like, hey, let's save the world. Let's reach out to the truth. Let's rob a bank.
Yeah, it's a little crazy. So actually, one thing Hashino does say, though, is that they are supposed to be somewhat a foil to the Persona 4 cast, not only in setting, whereas Persona 4 is a smaller town, this is the big city. This is very clearly Shibuya. Oh, fun fact, that train station at the start does actually say Shibuya.
So this is literally Shibuya.
It's literally Shibuya. Maybe like they might make
fictional
up like
Shibuya.
Fictional Shibuya, like they might make shit up, which they'll have to, I bet.
Fictional Shibuya, Inaba's that way, and so is Tatsume Port Island.
Yeah, exactly. So like, of course, there's probably going to be liberties, but yeah, it is very clearly at least somewhat Shibuya. So
yeah.
But with that said, what was I saying? Oh yeah, not only are they a foil to Persona 4 setting-wise, where it's a bigger urban environment compared to the small town atmosphere, these characters are also a little bit more, I guess, rougher around the edges in terms of personality.
Rougher and more, what's the word for it? They're more
a little bit
bratish.
Douchey. Like that
douchey and bratish.
That is what I really love. Is like they're like punks. Like they almost give me a. I don't want to say this because it's not entirely accurate, but they almost give me a No More Heroes vibe. Like, in terms of just kind of being, like, punk kids that are kind of...
They are the goody two-shoes that most of the Persona 4 characters are.
And
I can definitely see how they're the foil. Like, compare P5MC to Narukami. Narukami's, like, a very good guy. He's friendly to everyone. He takes care of Nanako. He always, well, almost always listens to Jojima. He tries to find the good in people. P5MC, he doesn't go out of his way to talk to anybody. He's kind of lone wolfish.
He's very independent, yes.
Yeah. He's kind of like that guy. He's kind of like that kid in the back of the classroom who keeps to himself, but he's like glaring at everybody like, "Fuck you all! I hate people. Can't wait to get out of here."
And then he does like the douchey like scene kid hair flip and gets out his Invaders and backpack.
Invaders and backpack and puts on his Hot Topic T-shirt.
I'm gonna go home and play DMC Devil May Cry.
Yeah.
And fucking but that's that. Like it reminds me of like a toned down No More Heroes. That's what the characters remind me of. Where like they just seem like punks. They seem kind of like cocky douchebag kids.
It's like these characters. They look like they don't take shit from nobody.
Yeah, I know. I can't wait to see that shit. Like fucking, I want to play some douchebag kids. There's a little bit of teenage rebellion in there. Fun times. But yeah, like they're just more ill-mannered is the phrase that he settled on in that blog post, and I'm looking forward to what they do with that because it fits with the theme of like society rejecting you, and also within that too, he wrote that part of the theme. He expanded upon what we were talking about with the theme of like society kind of oppressing apparently Persona 5 has a lot to do with young people being felt pressured by society, and they go out of their own way to like deliver justice or like search for some sort of justice that they form. But also there are hints in there that maybe they're wrong, or maybe they're a little
Misguided.
yeah, like a little bit of youthful ignorance. Like maybe they're not fighting for exactly the greatest of reasons. Maybe they're a little bit on the
Selfish side.
yeah, maybe their young teenage rebellion brattiness isn't entirely for the best. And I have a feeling they can do some great character development stuff with
Yeah.
them kind of growing up.
Maybe it'll be like a coming of age story for the characters where they realize that there's bigger things happening in their city, and either than their little caper that they've been doing.
Because I think too, if they do a thing where it's like there are both positive ways and negative ways for people to reject societal norms, I guess. Because like I feel like media kind of does a thing where it's like, oh, either you don't blend in with society and you're a loser and blah blah blah, or it's like, oh, you have to rebel against society and tear it down, blah, like fucking like anarchy. Like I feel like maybe they're going to do a thing like there is a respectful way to not agree with society, and there's like an immature way to not agree with society, and maybe they start off as immature.
The immature, yeah.
And then they learn later on, no, there is a way to counter societal norms that are kind of fucked up, but still do it in a grown-up manner, and like, you know,
and that's when they go off and save the world and slay a god.
yeah, because also in there too, Hashino said something like, he feels like in modern times, it is very easy to feel like you are stuck in life or just kind of trapped.
Which is true.
I'm feeling that every day. Like, I feel like there's a lot of great messaging that can go on here, and like just stuff that we don't usually see in JRPGs. Really, really excited to see what they do with the thematic stuff here. Like I said, just the whole societal stuff, like being oppressed by society and like finding liberation from that in some form. That has always been kind of a thing that I enjoy reading about, or just like I enjoy media that has that, and just seeing the creator's interpretation of how to interact with a society that sometimes does not agree with your own personal opinions and beliefs. And I feel like that's something that everyone runs into at least a couple times in their lives. There are things, you listening to this right now, there are probably a couple things you believe in that the majority of society would reject. And I feel like that's actually kind of an important message to send to Japanese youth. Because, I mean, we all know that I guess the people at Atlus, in terms of like the Megaten stuff, they've always been kind of like a more
Different.
like counterculture.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. Like, I feel like they could have some really great messaging in there, and maybe just some really good stuff as a whole. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like I ran my mouth on that for longer than I should have, but like, fuck, that really, I'm really excited about that.
Yeah.
And then I guess the other thing is that
It's still scheduled for 2015 in both the US and Japan.
see, that's the thing. We never really got an update on the US, but like until they say it's probably 2015. Well, first of all, we know one thing. It's not coming out it's not coming out before Dancing All Night.
Yeah.
And I kind of
I wouldn't be surprised if like both versions came out within a few weeks from each other.
I have a feeling it's going to be either fall or winter.
Yeah.
And if it's fall in Japan, I'm assuming it's going to be winter here, maybe like a month delay. Or
Yeah.
if it's winter here, maybe January 2016.
We'll see.
Well, we'll see. Because the game looks pretty good so far, but then again, you know, they could have just been showing us stuff that is done.
It's mostly finished.
Yeah. Now, with that said, too, there's another blog post. Well, no, this was from the interview Hashino made, where he kind of wanted to have the main characters these phantom thieves that it seems like they're kind of going for kind of like a Lupin vibe with it, and there's a specific
Lupin.
there's a specific genre name for it that I don't have with me right now, but basically it's like a subset of crime fiction where like the main cast, or like at least the main character, is like someone from the lower ranks of society kind of rising up and forming their own justice and like kind of striking back against the higher ranking members of society type thing. Which I mean, I guess fits with the theme pretty well with what we've seen so far, right?
Yeah.
So kind of like, yeah, the idea is that they're thieves. They're not great people necessarily. Maybe like
They
a
may
little bit
act
of a-
like they may act different when they're in social environments, as you can see with P5MC. He definitely acts different from how he is with a Phantom Thief.
yeah.
It's just to throw off his pursuers. You know, he
May-
might get investigated, and they just see he's just some nerdy teenager.
Maybe like there might be maybe like a bit of a Robin Hood thing going on where it's like, hey,
Yeah.
we're fucking up people's lives and stealing shit, but we're doing it for a greater good or something like that. Who knows? A lot of interesting stuff they can do with that motif, and it does, I think, fit the overarching stuff with the themes very well. And then I guess just a little bit more on the story is that I kind of hinted at it when we were talking about that, what we think is the initial persona. Like the Latin terms for the 7 deadly sins appear at some point, which
Yeah.
leads more credence to the fact that this could be based off Christian mythos
Yeah.
as the main motif. And maybe like each of the characters could represent a sin is a common theory I'm hearing being thrown
Maybe.
around. Because like I can kind of see the main. I can't really speak for the other characters. I can kind of see that main character representing pride in a way,
Yeah.
like just with his cocky nature that he seems to don with the Phantom.
He seems to take
guise.
pride in the fact that nobody knows who he is, and that he feels like he's on top of the world with his Phantom Thief guys.
Yeah, like he seems to be a bit more cockier with that, and I feel like they could do some stuff if like maybe part of the character development is them having to deal with that deadly sin that is central to each of their characters and kind of learning to cope with that part of their personality. That could be really interesting if they do that. If they go that route, or also who knows? Maybe those Latin words were just in there to be cool. We don't know.
Yeah. Or maybe they represent the dungeons.
or
Maybe
that
they
too.
have. They don't exactly represent dungeons, but each of the dungeon has things for each of the 7 deadly sins.
Didn't SMTF do that?
Conception 2 did that.
Oh, Jesus fucking Christ. You know what? Actually, I said we weren't going to answer emails this thing, but this made me laugh my ass off. Katsu, someone emailed and was like, Katsu, why don't you like Hyperdimension Neptunia? And I'm like, he likes all these other Weeaboo games. Katsu, why don't you like Neptunia? I'm curious. Like, why do you draw the line at Neptunia?
Because it's a shitty game.
Okay, there we go. I was actually wondering about that since I received that email, because I'm like, you like Conception and all these other Weeb games, but okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, that's it. It's just a bad game. It's shit. The
Okay.
combat sucks. The story is really terrible. And yeah.
Okay,
But on the other hand, I like me some Senran Kagura because
Oh,
the
Jesus
combat's
fucking
fun
Christ.
and the story is actually half decent.
oh Jesus Christ. Okay, I like how that's going to be the only email that we answer for episode 50. I enjoy this. I don't know why. Yeah, I feel like we talked Persona 5 to death. Like, we talked about everything that we possibly could. I have nothing else to say unless you do.
The only thing I have to say is Anzu's gonna be like day 1, rank 10 S-Link. Gonna get that you spent a long time with Anzu in that Christmas Eve.
Anzu's my bae, though.
Alright, we're probably gonna have to fight at PAX.
This podcast might come to an end for reasons when Persona
Yeah.
5 comes out. So yeah, fucking...
Bye.
I get. Oh no, we're not done yet. Well,
Oh.
first of all, we beat Cars.
Yay.
Podcast Tendency, which is the name we gave for season 2 of COS, is over. Yay! So
Yay.
we reached episode 50, and we make a new season every 25 episodes. That means there's going to be a new playlist, which means episode 51 through 75 going to be Cathedral of Shadows, season 3, Podcast Awakening.
Oh yes.
Hell yeah. So, also, I've been talking about this for a while. I'm going to figure out how the hell we get our shit up on iTunes. I mean, I already put the first 11 episodes up on iTunes before. I'm like, I'm not going to archive over 50 plus podcast episodes, like with all of like the half episodes and shit that we've done too. Like that's just a lot of work, and like I don't know if it's worth it. That said, I was kind of messing around with getting those episodes off the RSS feed, and I think I broke the RSS feed. So for the 90 of you that are subscribed to the RSS feed, I might just delete that feed and then start over again. So if that is gone, that's probably why. I think I'm just going to make a new feed and then put season 3 up on iTunes, starting with episode 51 and all that. And sure enough, like if you follow the Twitter, I'll link to the new feed, or like the new iTunes page or whatever, and all of that. With episode 51, of course, I'll link to it down below too. So yeah, I guess, actually, you know what? Fuck it. I almost forgot. I have a thing to read off.
Oh.
Yeah, so I just wanted to give a quick shout out to everyone who appeared on season 2, which is episode 26 to right now. Well, I guess first thing I want to say is they barely missed the cutoff because they're episode 25. But I wanted to thank everyone over at S-Link FM because, having us on way back when, twice. Good stuff. They're a lot of fun, and yeah, we never got to thank people from season 1, but I mean, we've kept in touch with the S-Link guys. They're cool people. They're good folk, and yeah, and also I love the show. Been great stuff ever since that started. Then I want to thank Kevin Frayne, who came on to talk about a lot of Quantum Devil Saga stuff with us, and that's been really fun. Probably the biggest guest we've ever had.
Yeah.
Definitely fun talking about Quantum Devil Saga and all that, and I'm sure we should do more stuff with him, with Quantum Devil Saga Volume 2 coming out sometime eventually. Whenever more news is ready for that, maybe we can have him back on again and talk and stuff. I'm sure we can arrange that. Kevin, you legitimized our podcast. I never thought that one of my fucking YouTube videos would be a citation on Wikipedia until you came along. Want to thank Crazy Tank, who came on to talk some JoJo's with us. That was a lot of fun.
That JoJo's episode.
That JoJo's episode was hype, man. Yeah, so that was great fun, and thanks a lot, Crazy Tank, for coming on and nerding up and talking some JoJo's, especially since at that point I think I just finished Stardust Crusaders when I got to that point. I am like halfway through part 5 now. I really ought to finish that. Then I want to thank Frequency, who came on to talk about the Devil Summoner PSP fan translation. That was a lot of fun. And just translation stuff in general with that. And then also on the fan translation hype train, we had Puppy Pizza, aka DDS Translation, who was awesome enough to not only pop into a live stream I was doing, but just agree to a short interview that we did about the Kyoyaku Megami Tensei fan translation, and that was really cool because we didn't think that project was alive, and he'd been working on it secretly this entire time, and
behind the scenes.
Yeah, and that was awesome to get to talk to him and just see his passion for the project and deciding that I don't want to leave this thing unfinished. I need to finish this thing, and finally going back all those years after to finally release it. I really respect that. That was awesome. Then also Mystic. Thanks a lot, Mystic, for coming on and talking about the Eternal Punishment portable fan translation work that you and everyone at Trotico Soft have been doing. That is some really good stuff. I can't wait for more news on that. And then also, finally, VA Tricker, Antinomy, and Jake for coming on to talk some Persona Q stuff with us. Good friends, and just nice to hear your guys' opinion about Persona Q and chat with us. And not only that, but being some awesome friends. Warm and fuzzies. Yeah. Yeah, that's everyone we had on Season 2 that I wanted to thank. Thanks a lot, everyone who I just listed. Yeah, it's been great. It's episode 50. Like, shit. I can't believe it. I really can't believe that we made it.
I know.
I don't know.
50 episodes.
Think we can make it to 100?
Probably.
We can do it. We're fucking doing it. Hell yeah. Anyways, yeah, I guess Season 2 of Cathedral of Shadows is complete, and I hope everyone enjoyed it. I think this project has meant a lot to both me and Katsu over the past year or so that we've been doing it, and it's been great getting to know the Megaten fanbase more and just interacting and being a source of news and commentary has meant a lot to both of us. And like, I can't believe so many of you guys listen to us talk about stuff for as long as we do. Just thanks a lot for listening, guys. I really hope you enjoy it, and it's been a pleasure. From the bottom of my heart, thank you.
Yes, thank you all.
And you know what, Katsu?
Yeah?
We really are the Cathedral of Shadows.
No.
I think Anzu is getting me into the waifu laifu.